Oh my goodness. So data really does set the rules, the facts, the knowledge, and takes out all of the hunches that lead to the unsuccessful decisions that many companies make. So can you walk us through what it takes to become a data-driven journey, a data-driven customer, please, Dharmesh?
Sure. And before we go in there, let me talk about like how analytics came into picture. Like let's go into the detail about how the analytics value pyramid got evolved. I mean, let's go step by step on it. Originally, everybody is at this stage where we want to know what has happened. Like we go into talk about analyzing the transactional databases or line of business applications, create business dashboards, start looking at KPIs of how we are performing, what has happened, kind of things which are going on within our organization. That's basically the descriptive layer in our pyramid. Then came in starting getting into a little bit of analytical approach on diagnosing why is it happening, why certain output that we are getting, what is the reason behind the output that we are looking at. Then the predictive stage came in, and which is basically we got a little bit advanced. We got into a little bit of understanding about how or how the data behaves, and started creating certain models which kind of give a little bit of prediction about what is going to happen. So what may happen if certain things are done or not. Then we got into a prescriptive layer, which is kind of the ultimate layer that of analytics that we are getting into it, where we basically not only define what may happen, but we also give an approach on what action needs to be taken in order to avoid or in order to achieve certain goals or certain targets. So that's basically getting into the prescriptive stage of it. Now, Scott, let me take you through a kind of a different model around this thing. Like when we go of the evolution of analytics, we basically get into some sort of a kind of a model that we have created, which we call it as a data infrastructure maturity model. Here at Advaya, with our experiences working with different varieties of organizations, we created a maturity model, which is kind of a model, a framework, which helps you assess where you are and where you want to be. Along with this, we also have built a plan and a model, a framework, which kind of helps you, gives you guidelines and initiatives on how do we move from one level to another level, or our current state to the desired state kind of thing. And this model, when we were working on this model, we kind of looked at different aspects, not only just the technology aspects of it, but also looked at business aspects and tried to combine them in order to create a cohesive story around which stage you are in. So essentially, to present it in a simplified way, we created 4 stages of maturity. Though we feel that it's a continuous journey, it's never a kind of ending scenario. It's a continuous improvement, continuous journey, but still we can at any given day, at any given time, we can at least define certain stages that we have achieved over different given amount of time kind of thing. First stage in our maturity model, we call it as a data aware, which is basically we have manual data infrastructure with classical reporting, with the kind of thing that reports us like what has happened kind of thing. It requires basic data management skills and the basic technologies that most of the organizations already have. Then we go into a data enabled, which is much more defined data infrastructure. It has predefined policies, standards for different kind of data processing, standardized reports, kind of bring everything in a one standardized way, looking across the organization. Then comes the data savvy, where we have much more managed and consolidated data infrastructure, and which kind of provide and gives the data analyst a capability to do advanced analytics, advanced reporting, connected data sources. So we are no longer looking at one data source. We are talking about one consolidated data infrastructure, which combines different kind of sources of information into one. Then we talk about data driven, which is the ultimate state that we are talking about today, which is fully centralized, fully automated data infrastructure with continuous improvement cycles, real-time reporting, faster decision making, predictive indications, all of those, the highest value of analytical capabilities providing into one system.
Oh my goodness, Dharmesh, that's kind of like Darwin's theory. Can you explain the different stages, please?
Yeah, let me go into a little bit more detail as we are talking about, and talk about kind of different aspects that we have covered in our maturity model. As you can see on the screen right now, we basically thought through the whole process of data infrastructure maturity, and we kind of came to a conclusion that we have to go people, process, and technology, all three parallelly in order to achieve any state of maturity. This is not only a technology solution, this is an overall organizational cultural change that needs to happen at every stage in order to proceed with our progression. Now, in thinking about people, we talk about different kind of skill sets that needs to be developed, different kind of training that needs to be involved, different kind of cultural aspects that need to be changed. And with culture, we need to make sure that the processes are supporting those culture. We need to enhance different kind of processes at every stage in order to move to the next stage kind of thing. Of course, supported by the technology infrastructure that we had to create to provide that kind of capabilities. So what we have done is basically for each stage, data aware, data enabled, data savvy, data driven, we have created a highest level of definition. But we not only that, we kind of divided this whole model and abstracted out at different kind of levels. This level is called a data infrastructure abstraction. Then we have different sub capabilities level, like different kind of individual capabilities that go into data infrastructure and go into each individual definition about what do we mean by data aware, what do we mean by data enabled, what do we mean by data savvy, what do we mean by data driven. The whole goal here is to give a framework for the IT and data decision makers about like where they can assess or how they can recognize which stage they are in and which stage they would like it to be. The whole goal with this thing is basically come up with a plan, a roadmap about here we are in this particular capability or in this particular sub capability, how we want to go to the next level. How do we create a roadmap that creates like a journey from, say, for example, I want to be data savvy, but we are data aware right now. How do we go about from data aware to data enabled and then to data savvy in a prescriptive way?